I'm going to do a quick walk around review of the Bentley Continental GT. This is actually a 2004 model on a 54 plate. I think it's probably something that's worth sort of videoing, giving people sort of reviews on these, because they are an affordable supercar. This particular one will do 202 miles an hour. It's got 630 horsepower because it has been mapped. It has got an aftermarket exhaust. The reason I think these should be, I like doing these sort of little reviews, is because as much as there are these big name supercar reviewers, I'm not going to mention, that seem to drive around in their flash cars and make huge amounts of money from YouTube, the majority of the cars that they do are completely unaffordable to the majority of us. Whereas this is currently for sale. This is 30,000. It's actually my dad's car. He's had this for a couple of years now. I've done a few bits and pieces to it, such as the wheels. We've put it back to Bentley original forged alloys, because there were some 22-inch wheels that had a 25 profile tyre, and it did look a bit gangster. As you can tell from my accent, I'm not that way inclined. This car has actually got a RSC, so Racing Sports Concepts, exhaust system on it, so it is what these should have sounded like from new. It gives just that little bit extra on the exhaust, but it's nothing that's too outrageous. So yeah, got the new forged Bentley alloys. Apologies, the car's absolutely filthy. It doesn't really get used an awful lot, and just haven't got round to cleaning it yet. So got personal plate on, B60 Bentley 60 6 litre GT, Continental GT. So it seems to work quite well with the car. So I was going to go through this and let you know a little bit about these cars. So this has also got the shadow chrome badges as an optional extra. So press the badge, the boot lid pops up. It's got some spare plates. I always have a charger, C-Tech, just in case. Where this doesn't get used much, it's always nice to sort of keep it on a trickle charge. There's a decent boot, and you do have a ski hatch in there for those times when you want to take your Bentley to the Alps. You do have a full-size spare wheel, only limited to 50 miles an hour, so it looks a bit ridiculous if you had to put that on. Luckily, never had to. You've got obviously the warning triangle, and I guess that glows in the dark in case you want to lock someone in the boot. Maybe it was a sort of because of who they thought were going to buy these cars when they were new. So it's got the soft close boot lid. So you just place it down and that closes itself. Going into the car, this has also had sort of a LED light upgrade, so under the mirrors, on the side lights as well. So I open it up, you can see these are actually double glazed windows. There are two sort of panels of glass, just to get that, make sure it is that much quieter. When we bought this, or when my dad bought this, I spent a lot of time searching for the right one, because a lot of them we feel are very, very dated by the fact that they're wooden trim. It looks like a plank of oak on the dashboard. It's not a Jaguar from the 1960s, so why dress it like one? So we've got the piano black inserts with the Hotspur red leather and the contrasting black. So moving into the car, I'll shut the door just so it's that much quieter. Again, sorry, it's a little bit dusty in here. As I say, it doesn't really get used an awful lot. I'll turn that on. So you do have the standard Bentley or Breitling endorsed clock in the middle, air vents, more speakers than you can shake a stick at. They're not great. The new ones have name systems on the top end models, and they are something to talk about, but the standard speaker system in here is pretty average. My Hertz system, which was I think I spent about £700 on in my Civic over there, which just from two front component speakers is a better setup than in these Bentleys. So just something to have a think about. There's no bass in these at all. So in terms of what this car is sort of fitted out with, there is the upgraded Mulliner gear knob. So this was a £600 option that the previous purchaser put on. So it is an official Bentley one. It's got the knurled aluminium and the sort of the leather insert. Again, just makes it look that little bit nicer. You've got the standard start-stop button, heated seats either side, and then you've got adjustable suspension. The wing, if you want to put it up, you can. You look like a bit of a bell end, but because it goes up itself at about 85 miles an hour. I don't know why people feel the need to put them up at when you're doing 10 miles an hour around town. It looks a bit daft. Same as on the TT, really. Looks a bit daft when you put them up. And yeah, standard dashboard. So this car's done just under 65,000 miles for a 2004 car, so decent mileage for its year. You've got the standard cruise control, volume controls, menu systems. Menu systems on this is pretty naff, as is the sat nav. But that's part of it. It's a 2004 car, so sat navs back then were never that great. So this has got the button under here. So you've got the sort of anti-dazzle mirrors. That's both the wing mirrors and the rear view mirror. Those will go a much darker colour once you press the button, so you don't get dazzled by the cars behind. So this has got, again, Hotspur red all the way through. So Hotspur red and piano black all down the centre console. The seats in the back, again, a 4-seater car. I'm 6'3". No one's sitting behind me. It's just not going to happen. So it's a little bit pointless having seats in the back. Standard glove box. You've got the bonnet release over there. The bonnet release pops up the Bentley badge in the middle of the wings, and that will and you just lift that directly up. You got the double armrest in here. I use it as a place to store my iPhone lead, but you do have there's some chewing gum in there. But you do have space for a Bentley phone and space for another Bentley phone. I don't know why you'd need two, but maybe the people they aimed these for back in 2004 felt that was a need. You've got auto headlight controls. So I just leave that on auto. They stay on for another 30 seconds or so when you lock the car. One of the annoying things is only the driver's side is a auto sort of release of the window. So most cars now, you pull that, the window goes all the way up. And there's no way of, if you have all the windows down, because there's no central pillar, if you have all the windows down, you have to do the front two, then the back two, or you can't just press one button to open them up, which is a bit annoying, to be honest. You've got these vents down the doors here to help demist the windows. The car does seem to steam up a little bit. Not overly sure why, but I've noticed it. I've cleaned all the drainage holes. It's just always has. Previous owner said it was as well, and he was the first owner. He had it from new, so strange really. Seats are multi-adjustable. Please, I apologise for my choice of trouser, but you've got 3 modes to set the seats. This is your lumbar support. You do also have a massage setting, and it's all electrically adjustable. So up, down at the front, up, down at the rear, and then you can adjust the angle of the seat, and this is sort of the bit that goes under your knees, which I've never used because it's uncomfortable. There is a keyhole on the car. Again, previous owner upgraded to the more modern Bentley key. So this is the 2-button key. So this is sort of one of those proximity keys. You don't actually need to insert it. I can start the car with that on my lap. So if I press the button down once, steering wheel comes out towards me, and obviously you've got the standard lights on the dash until you start the car. Oh, I've pressed it again. That was my mistake. So foot on the brake. And the car starts. So you start idling at around about 1200 RPM. as you can hear, I'll go outside or open the door. It is louder to start with on idle with this Racing Sports Concepts exhaust. But that dies down as the revs settle to 600 RPM. It's only the initial start, but this is really where I feel the car should have, what the car should have sounded like a standard. As you can see, that's now dropped down to 800 RPM, and it's just a low burble now. Lovely, lovely sound from these, especially when you're on sort of up to full chat on them. This one has been remapped, so standard I think they're 545 horsepower. So this has been had its ECUs taken out, and they were sent across to America. Got all sort of the full receipts for them to Racing Sports Concepts, and they tuned this to the Super Sports package, which puts the horsepower to 631 horse, and there's a bucket load of more torque. I'm not sure of the exact figure on that, but it does really bring the car to life. So yeah, this one is, as much as it's not a super sports car, it's tuned to the same performance as a super sports car. So 0 to 60 is around 3.5 seconds. And I think I said top speed. It's just over 200. It's 201, 202 miles an hour. In the UK with a 70 mile an hour speed limit, I'm not really brave enough to take it that far. So I kind of need my license. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear if I rev it slightly. See what we can get if I've got the camera just behind the car. So you do get a couple of little pops. Nothing like the new cars of the day where everything's designed to sound like it's got a spark plug in the exhaust. But again, it's just the way cars are. As I say, I think it's important that people know about these cars. You can get them from just over 20,000 upwards, depending on sort of the specification, the mileage, the year. The shape changed on this particular car in 2012, so this is one of the earlier ones. But it's one of the cars that's in this specification. There would have been very few with the beluga black sort of centre dash, sort of piano black, beluga black paintwork on the outside, and the Hotspur red interior. I feel this is my personal opinion, this is the best colour combination for a car. Black and red is always for the win. Since obviously changing the wheels on the car, it has made a big difference to the performance, in terms of sort of drivability, comfort. As I say, it had 22-inch wheels, and you just felt everything. You run over the tiniest of potholes or just a dent in the road, and you really felt it. The suspension is very soft, but the wheels with the 25 profile tyre made it pretty nasty to drive. Makes a big difference now. Now it is on the sort of the standard 19-inch alloys with I think it's a 45 profile tyre. So in terms of the actual circumference of the wheel, it's exactly the same, but it makes a big difference in terms of how this rides. As I say, you've got, when you press the let me turn this back on, you get the standard Bentley wings, Bentley Angel, whatever you want to call it. You've got your sort of set modes for the car. Just continue. I will have it standard, so it's set on the AC. You do have navigation, user system so it's, as you can see, it's a pretty naff system, and you can have that full screen, and it shows you roughly where I am. Audio, TV. There is a TV tuner on the car, but let's be honest, no one watches TV in their car, and it's not a digital system anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. Never bothered setting my phone up, so I've got the features in here, just never bothered actually setting it. you can get sort of information on your trip from the start of the trip, long-term statistics. So overall, my average fuel consumption is 12.3 to the gallon, and that's across the last 577 miles. So you can see it's not particularly efficient, but then again, you're not going to buy a 6-litre twin turbocharged W12 engine and worry about fuel, because that would be ridiculous. If you're gonna worry about fuel, you buy yourself a Prius, or you buy yourself a VW Polo that tells you it does 100 to the gallon. You don't buy yourself a 6-litre engine. But yeah, 12.3 to the gallon average, which, yeah, it's about right. If you put your foot down, it goes down to about 7. When I bought this when my dad bought this in Hull, I drove this back down from Hull, back down to Portsmouth, just under 300 miles. I think I managed to get it to 20 to the gallon at the absolute peak, and that was just sat on the motorway the entire way down from Hull to Portsmouth. So I think the overall average for the trip was about 17 or 18, but I managed to sort of peak it at 20, as you can see, and that's average of 20 miles an hour. So the car doesn't really get used. This is the amount of miles I've done in the last year, so 577 miles. So the car really doesn't get used much. I take it across to Goodwood occasionally for the Supercar Sunday, bits and pieces, but apart from that, it doesn't get used. You can see window controls. You've got your electronic handbrake, which makes a little bit of noise as it squeezes the rear pads, and you do have sort of garage door controls for those of us that are lucky enough to have 3 garages, not me, and then just standard lights. Everything has been done to a lovely finish, so all the leather is very, very nice, lovely and soft. Even around the dashboard, it's all lovely leather. You do have these door pockets, which are a little bit hard to access, but they do sort of pull out, which is quite a nice addition. I'm trying to think what else is sort of a good or a bad point about these. As I said, I've mentioned the seats. The one thing I think is the silly thing, these are designed to be a GT car, so something that's designed to sort of sit back in comfort and cover long distances. There is absolutely nowhere to put a cup or a drink of any sort. So unless you've got a bottle and you